Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Man held with homemade gun in Lawrence Tavern charged. A man was charged on Saturday in connection with the seizure of a homemade gun with 19mm round of ammunition in Lawrence Tavern, St. Andrew. He is 19-year-old Raheen Allen of Colburn District in Lawrence Tavern. The police report that about 4:20 p.m. on Thursday, February 23, a team was on an operation in Colburn District when a man was observed. The police say he acted in a manner that arose the suspicion of the cops. He was accosted and a bag he was carrying was searched. During the search, the illegal gun was found in the bag. He was subsequently taken into custody. Following a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney, he was charged on Saturday, February 25th. His court date has not been finalized. Trelawny records first murder for 2023. Trelawny on Sunday recorded its first murder for 2023 following the shooting death of a man in the town of Duncans. Investigators were on the scene, however the identity of the deceased has not yet been ascertained. The parish ended last year with 31 murders. Sunday morning's killing was the first recorded in the parish since November 2022. All-Island cricket competition interrupted by gunmen in Hanover. A Jamaica Cricket Association (JCA) All-Island cricket match was interrupted over the weekend in Hanover by about 9 gun-wielding men who reportedly walked on the field brandishing their weapons. The first of two-day match was in the second innings when the incident, which had nothing to do with the game, reportedly took place, leaving spectators running for cover. The police who confirmed the incident were unable to provide details. The police said they were not informed of the planned match before the date. However, reports reaching reporters are that sometime after 4 and 5 p.m. on Saturday, 9 men entered the Elgin Town community. A fight later ensued in which a man was reportedly beaten and guns were drawn. It is not clear if the man was the intended target. Frightened spectators who saw what was happening reportedly ran for cover, following which the men reportedly walked onto the community center field where the match was being held with guns in hands. The police who arrived on the scene reportedly advised the organizers to call off the match. President of the Hanover Cricket Association, Dwayne Clayton, has acknowledged that his association, which was responsible for the planning of the event, fell short of informing the police of the planned event. He said going forward this will be done. A distraught Clayton said what took place is not looking good and work has to be done to prevent a recurrence. It is a very bad situation and we're looking to see how we cannot have this issue reoccur. It is the first time that we have seen something like this, and we need to, as an association, work together to try to prevent something like this from recurring, stated Clayton. He said the association is looking into possibility of relocating match to upper venue, Rossies High School campus too. In the past, matches were held at the Rossies before it was moved to Elgin Town. This is also the first match in 5 years at the Elgin Town location. Clayton said no decision has been made by the JCA as to how the match will be completed. American chef held with ganja at airport. An American businesswoman who arrived on the island Saturday was arrested and charged with breaches of the Dangerous Drug Act after ganja was found in her luggage. Charged with possession and importing ganja is New York resident 37-year-old Courtney Baker, who is also a chef. Police reported that around midday, Baker arrived on a JetBlue flight and was searched by members of the contraband enforcement team. Her luggage was found to contain 7 packages made from transparent and black plastic material, each containing ganja weighing approximately 3 ounces. She was taken into custody and, following further investigations, was subsequently charged. Curfew imposed in Hellshire Park, St. Catherine. A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of Hellshire Park, Portmore, St. Catherine. The security measure began at 6 p.m. on Saturday, February 25th, and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Monday, February 27. The boundaries of the curfew are north along an imaginary line at approximately 510.8 meters from the western end of the Hellshire Glades community to the Hellshire Main Road. East along the Hellshire Main Road from the northern boundary to the dirt road at the southern boundary. South along an imaginary line at approximately 597.9 meters from the dirt road at the eastern boundary to the south end of the Hellshire Park community. West along an imaginary line at approximately 597 meters from the southern end of the Hellshire Park community to the west end of the Hellshire Glades community. During the curfew, all persons are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. 3 men freed of murder after 11 years. Arising from the acquittal last week of 3 men whose murder cases have been before the court for 11 years, King's Counsel Peter Champagny is calling for a reliable system to be put in place in instances where police officers need to take statements from critically ill witnesses and complainants. It is in the interest of justice that a witness be present to corroborate the statement being taken by the police in such cases, especially if the person giving the statement is gravely ill, the attorney stated. Accused Alfonso Sorjan, Shanti Finiki, and John Finiki were freed by Justice Leighton Pusey after Champagny and attorney-at-law Simone Campbell, who represented the men, challenged the authenticity of the statement that was presented, as well as the truthfulness of the police officer who recorded the account of the complainant, who died 5 days after it was given. The lawyer also challenged during cross-examination the identification of their clients. Justice Pusey, in handing down his verdict at the end of the trial in the Home Circuit Court, said there was no certainty based on the number of issues with the statement. The prosecution had relied on an account of a bus conductor, Dalton Dennis, who was shot and injured in Golden Spring, St. Andrew in 2011. The statement was given on his hospital bed 7 days after he was shot. It named 4 men, including the 3 accused, as his attackers. Dennis died days later. Champagny said there was no independent witness to verify that when the statement was given, Dennis was in a position to do so. Dennis was shot in the shoulder and other areas of his body and had difficulty breathing, Champagny stated. Dennis had said in the statement that the area where the incident took place was well lit. However, the defense called a businessman who lived in the area for the case, and he testified that the lighting there was poor. Peter pointed out that it came under cross-examination from one of the policemen who had seen Dennis in hospital that he had a tube in his mouth. It is from these circumstances that doubt was fueled, leaving the trial judge to conclude that the witness was not in a position to give a statement as the Crown alleged, Peter stated. The outcome of the case has prompted the attorney to make a special appeal for a policy to be put in place as to the taking of such statement, which could assist the prosecution in making a determination on whether to move forward with such cases. It is best practice that the police who take statements from witnesses or complainants who are hospitalized or in serious medical conditions, that in those circumstances, there should be an attesting witness such as the nurse on duty or another police officer to support or corroborate the fact that the statement was taken and the person was in a condition to give the statement, he told reporters. A number of factors had contributed to the case being delayed for over a decade, including the COVID-19 pandemic, police witnesses resigning from the force and migrating, a change of lawyers, and on one occasion, one of the accused men was diagnosed as unfit to plead. Peter said the men, who are all from Golden Spring, had consistently maintained their innocence and are now happy to be freed of the charges and are able to move on with their lives. 400 persons to receive grants to offset land registration cost. Approximately 400 Jamaicans will benefit from a $30 million grant to offset the land survey costs associated with registering a parcel of land with the National Land Agency, NLA. Persons will be able to access up to $75,000 under the 3-year partnership between the VM Group through the VM Foundation and the NLA. The program will roll out in April in the NLA's Land Administration Management Division project areas. These are the parishes of St. Mary, Portland and St. Thomas, Nuggehead in St. Catherine, Antilivide, Southside, Rose Garden, Rosetown, Garden Spring, Rose Hall, and Laverne Tavern and its environs in Kingston. Eligible applicants should not have lands exceeding 5 acres and will be contacted by the NLA. At the signing ceremony for the arrangement held at the Jamaica House on Friday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness welcomed the partnership in moving forward Jamaica's land registration numbers. He noted that the grant will address one of the impediments to persons formalizing land ownership. The land survey can be a bit costly and is probably the hurdle that prevents most people from getting through this process, he contended. I am hoping that other mortgage companies will see the wisdom of partnering with the National Land Agency and come on board as well, he added. In his remarks, President and Chief Executive Officer of VM Group, Courtney Campbell, noted that last year, the institution disbursed over $19 million in new mortgages to help Jamaicans acquire their own home. He noted that there are thousands who are in the informal economy who need assistance to get formalized. Sponsoring the survey costs in the land titling process is aligned with our commitment to mutually because this is about working collaboratively to make their wider community flourish, he said. The Land Administration and Management Division of the National Land Agency is responsible for assisting persons to obtain a registered certificate of title and updating existing registered titles in the designated project areas. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the